Over the last few weeks, we've looked at key positions that are available to the Boks, and I think just a similar sort of line of thinking, Ryan. Let's look at the Boks captaincy and who might be available there. You know, I think your obvious candidate is Warren Whiteley, but he's been battling with a knee injury of late, and it's put him in some doubt for those June tests. And similarly for even Ed Smith, another guy who appears to be in some doubt because of injury again. Yeah. Those are the guys that the Boks backed last year in terms of their leadership group. So who else is there? Siya Kolisi, I mean, maybe a great opportunity for him, but I think you're going to talk about the factors, whether he can really earn a starting berth, and then Handre Pollard and maybe Dwayne Vermeulen as the bolter. From my perspective, I'm still backing Whiteley. He's always been the guy who I think is the inspirational leader. I've heard that the Lions are determined to get him fit for those June tests. They've said they're not going to rush him back. I think that speaks to the relationship that's building between franchise and national level. So I think he'll come back just in time, and I believe he'll deserve that number 8 spot and the captaincy.
Like Whiteley, I rate as a player. I don't think he's been around in a captaincy capacity long enough for us to make an absolute judgment on him. So the jury's kind of still out there. But I am worried about his injury history, and it's becoming a chronic kind of situation now. So and so big ups to the Lions for committing to trying to get him fit for the test season, etc., etc. But I worry about how serious this injury is, and if it becomes kind of career threatening for Whiteley. I hope it doesn't, because I rate him a lot. I mean, my call there would be, just in the broader scheme of things, Siya Kolisi. But there are serious questions around him. Does he make Rassie Erasmus's starting 15 on the strength of his form? And at present, the answer is no. So I think Rassie is likely to play him at blindside if he plays him at all, because Flo is a Rassie man through and through, and I think he's going to select Francois Louw for the test season. And then I think his other guy is Dwayne. So there's really only one other spot left in that back row, and that's at blindside. And see where Rassie goes there. But I think Siya for me is a great leader of men, and I think he's got the sort of emotional maturity and intelligence to do that job. But whether he makes that lineup on the weight of his performances, I don't know. And at the moment, he's not doing his scores any good. Who's next? I wouldn't go for Andre after that. I'd probably go for a senior player like Dwayne in that instance, or Flo. But it's open for debate. It really is. Like, I really don't know at this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the injuries and stuff has just made it a very interesting talking point, because it really is open for someone just to really take over that mantle, which is going to be key in those big tests and high pressure situations against England.
You kind of look at the type of captain that Russia selected throughout his coaching career. It's generally a guy like Dwayne Vermeulen, quite not too showy. A senior player who commands the respect of the rest of his team. So I would think that he'd probably go in that direction. But whether Dwayne is going to be available to play in the test season or not, he said he wants to play for the Springboks again, and I think him and Rassie would be a good fit. So yeah, we'll have to see there.
Yeah, for sure. But let's get into predictions quickly, and Stormers Rebels will be the one game to look at maybe first of all. I mean, for the Stormers, I know you're going to get stuck in. It's been a woeful season for them. Another embarrassing defeat last weekend. They've rocketed to the bottom of the South African conference. It's an indictment really of where this team should be. But, and it's a big but, they are a different animal at home. The Rebels, I think, are starting to wane a little bit. I think the Stormers will edge this one maybe 7-10, but I don't think it's going to gloss over how many big problems they have.
They have massive problems, Craig, and yes, I am going to go in on them, because how do you accept this level of mediocrity from a team, yes, but a coach more than that? I mean, I was reading John Cardinelli's piece on SARugbymag the other day. Fleck has won 56% of his matches as the Stormers coach. 56%. There's seemingly no pressure on him from Thelo Wakefield and his mob at Western Province. I don't understand how mediocrity like this is tolerated. Yes, they're a different animal at home. They've won 79% of the games under Fleck at home. And I understand that the Stormers have had a lot of injuries, but all teams have had a lot of injuries. Good coaches make it work. irrespective. They don't have a shit squad. They don't. They've actually, in my opinion, got one of the strongest squads of the South African franchises. They've got lots of young talent there, and they've got enough seasoned, hardened veterans to be mounting a better challenge than what they are now. And the defining quality of the really good teams is that they win away from home constantly. And the Stormers just can't put it together. Flick needs to come under increasing pressure, because what's going to happen here is the Stormers are going to beat the Rebels comfortably this weekend. I would say probably 10 to 12. There's going to be a new spin on this thing. Like the Stormers, there's going to be the talk of the Stormers resurgence, but it's the bloody Rebels away from home at Newlands where the Stormers are strong. But we really can't plaster over the cracks like that. So I'm going Stormers 10 to 12. Yeah. But man, Flick needs to go.
Yeah, I think I'll just counter in that regard. As I'm just questioning why John Dobson, a guy who's been successful at Currie Cup level, is sitting in the Super Sport Challenge coaching setup and not being the guy who's at least getting involved at Super Rugby level. But you know,
before you go on, like I really rate Dobson. Like I really rate him. Like in his capacity when he was the UCT coach during the Varsity Cup, I kind of got to know him then in a professional capacity. The way the guy thinks about the game is really progressive and offers insights beyond the obvious, which I think is like a base kind of expectation of a coach at that level. And then he's backed it up with consistently good performances when he's been entrusted with junior provincial teams, and then now in this Challenge Cup. I agree with you. I don't know why it's not an option for them. He in my opinion is a really good coach. He reminds me of like a young Jake White, the way he thinks about the game. And that's where the Stormers should be looking. Yeah. John Dobson.
Sure. And don't forget the man they got away, John Mitchell. He's now at the Bulls. So let's look at just that game. It leads us in because he's revolutionised the way the Bulls are playing. Super confident at the moment, and they go up against a Highlanders team that'll probably be one of their bigger challenges in recent weeks. The Highlanders are there or thereabouts in that New Zealand conference. I think they'll come here with a little bit of confidence and certainly challenge the Bulls. But I also think a coach like Mitch will know exactly what to expect. The Highlanders, they like to play without the ball. They kick a lot and then they counter attack and just try and take opportunistic chances that come their way. Yeah. But I think the Bulls will be fine with that. They'll weather that storm, tire them out, play an up-tempo game on the half. They'll take it in the last 10-20 minutes by 5 to 10.
Yeah, interesting game for me. Like, I think the Bulls need to bore them to death, to be quite honest. But I don't know if that's in their tactical DNA under Mitch. So my perspective there would be to just nail them in the forwards, kick well tactically, and this is a key area because from broken field the Highlanders have the players to really hurt you. And so if I was Mitch, I'd be looking to go a pragmatic route and not to try and kung fu fight with one of the best kung fu fighters in the competition. And rather just try and bore them to death and slowly grind them down. I don't know about this altitude thing. I mean, if you see the way the All Blacks have blitzed us on the IFL in recent years, it is what it is. Maybe they've worked out a way scientifically, I'm speaking about New Zealand franchises in general, how to counteract the effects of altitude, but we'll have to see. Yeah. But I'm excited about the Bulls, and that's kind of the one bright spot in South African rugby at the moment. Like it's true what you say. Like, I feel like Mitch is starting a revolution of sorts there. The way they play, and the players are showing a really good understanding of that tactical philosophy that Mitch wants to instill. So I'm gonna go with the Bulls there. It's going to be a tight one for me. I'll go 5 to 7, but I think they'll do the Islanders. All
right, cool. Just quickly into the final one, the Reds and Lions. I mean, the Lions for me as well were really, so impressive in the way they kept the Waratahs, without a score in Sydney. I mean, that's an incredible feat. Speaks to how they've also managed to adapt their defence, which was problematic earlier in the season. And I think, again, we're seeing the influence of maybe a guy like Jacques Nienaber, just having a little word there about what they can do. They've also got a very inexperienced defensive coach there in Joey, so they've improved in certain aspects that have kind of got them back on a roll against a Reds team that I don't rate at all. I think the Lions will come away winners 10 to 15.
Yeah, I don't rate them either. Critical what you're speaking about defensive, the defensive solidity. So the cornerstone of any successful Super Rugby campaign is that, just defense. So I'd like to think that Nienaber, who's in my view I mean, if not the best, among the best defensive coaches in the game. His impact has been felt at every franchise that he's gone to, and I'm looking forward to seeing that translate in a Springbok context this year. So I hope for the Lions' sake that he's had a word and is working closely with defensive coaches at all of the franchises, because that's the ideal situation, right? But the Lions, yeah, they've got to build their challenge on that particular facet of the game. We all know that they can play good open attacking rugby, but it's been the one defense has been the one area of their game that has come under scrutiny recently. So hopefully they build on there, but I think they'll suffocate the Reds, and they'll win comfortably there. I would say. I think they could do really well, like 15 to 20 points in fact. Yeah. I think that's how much better they are.
All right, great. Well, thanks Ryan, and Sharks on a bub, but let's enjoy the rugby. We'll be back next week.